Hey everybody, let's take a look at everything that's been released so far for Dragon's Dogma 2 Dark Arisen. The first shot we see here is the new Griffin taking us into Norgan. Now this Griffin looks a little snowy white feathered. It possibly has also snowy white feathers on its head, although I wouldn't be surprised if it was like maybe a little peppered with dark and light feathers. It does have definitely dark legs and a dark underbelly from what I can tell. Initially I thought that this could be something that's like a mixture between dark and light, kind of akin to what we saw in Dragon's Dogma Online, because we had a white holy griffin and then we had a dark poison griffin, and I kind of started to just try to combine the two together, but it didn't really make sense, you know? So I'm not exactly sure what to expect from this. If I had to guess, maybe it's kind of like some Stormbreaker type of griffin, you know, some super griffin with the ability to maybe control the weather or create maelstroms or lightning storms, or you know, just something crazier to kind of amp up the battles and things like that. But we're looking at both the initial shot of the Griffin taking us to Norgan and then also the traditional Griffin from Dragon's Dogma 2 that brings us into Vermund, just for comparison's sake, so people can definitely tell that this is a new Griffin. In one of my previous videos, I stated that I thought that this castle could potentially be the in-game castle where we fight the zombie dragon. However, having gone back to Dragon's Dogma Dark Arisen, the first one, for the 27 millionth time, I started thinking, well, maybe the lack of castles that we see in Dragon's Dogma 2, the base game, maybe this could be something similar to the Shadow Fort that we go to in the first game, where we fight the goblins and the Cyclops and have the ballistas and all that, and then eventually we unlock that underground arena where we can go fight the Cyclops and then get the silver idol for the message board quest. That's one of my favorites, and it's it can be somewhat rare to new players to try to find that, but it's one of the most awesome quests that you can do on the message board, in my opinion. I mean, there's a lot of them, but I put together a couple of clips here. I was trying to do this in chronological order, but then I thought, well, if I've got things that are similar in tone and experience in terms of like being in a storm or things being frozen, I thought I should just go ahead and put those together for the most part. So really it's just setting the tone of the storms that we're going to encounter, where there's going to be a snowstorm or some kind of harsh weather environment, and then surprise, you know, there's a monster that comes out of nowhere and attacks you. So it kind of expect the unexpected type of mood. I feel like I am a little worried that, you know, because we have this icy area, that there could be like a lot of ice powers and a lot of freezing, and being petrified like that can kind of wear on you after a while. So I'm glad that the pawns, which we'll talk about later, and their new behaviors can kind of mitigate that. But also, you know, we will be rewarded, it seems like, greatly for, you know, overcoming these battles and things like that. So I think it could be really interesting. I don't think that there's going to be like a overuse of ice and stuff like that, because we've seen that there are other monsters out there and other enemies out there that are not about that, right? You know, I truly feel like there will be some balance, and I think that's probably what Dark Arisen really is about. It's about finding that balance between the light and the dark. All right, so let's open the door here a little bit and talk about a couple of things. I'm gonna play some B-roll footage here of some skills and magic and things like that, but I want to talk about what makes Dragon's Dogma Dark Arisen so special for me personally. I feel like Dragon's Dogma is at its best whenever you have tools that are provided to you, like combos, like the skills, being able to customize a level of complexity and balance between those two. And then Capcom will, you know, temper those with these monster encounters that are serving the game best whenever there's a large variety there. Hard mode, I feel like, is a topic for another time, but I will say that I feel like concept of hard mode is a moot point whenever there's lacking incentive. That's what I love about the original Dragon's Dogma Dark Arisen hard mode, especially because I'm able to construct this character with all of these skills and combos that can evolve over time, especially the combos. That's something that I was disappointed about whenever I played Dragon's Dogma 2. It felt like there wasn't just enough to do across the board. And so the incentive really kind of takes a nosedive after you play the game for, like, you know, the 4th, 5th, 6th, 7th time. And we have to have some sort of a balance, because the game is not balanced. It's scales are tipping way too much in our favor right now. Once you get to, you know, level 40, 50, 60, game just really drops off. But what I'm really excited about when I see this footage of all of these combos and all of these skills and all these new monsters in a new area, and the you know, the promise of loot and being able to find equipment that can not only enhance your character but provide this variety and randomness here that you get, which I hope that we learn more about that soon. But being able to find random special skills on armor and weapons that we're going to find in Norgan really feels like, you know, they're injecting an element of a randomizer into the game, which I feel like is especially exciting. I wish more games would do that, and I feel like they only benefit, you know, and provide longevity for a title. To see companies, you know, acknowledge that, and I can't remember off the top of my head, but I know there's another game out there that kind of incorporated some sort of a randomizer. It's just makes everything more exciting, right? I mean, it makes you want to go back out there. Now, having said that, you can't just apply that to a new area and say, hey, we found a balance, but it's over here. I have every reason to believe that Capcom will do something. I mean, they told us as much. They're going to add those 12 dungeons to the base game, but you've gotta give the world some more love in the base game. There are problems there that need to be addressed, and you can't just leave it alone. And I know that they're not, to a degree, by adding these, you know, these dungeons. You've got to do something, and it looks like they are making some kind of adjustments in August to enemies, but we don't really know to what extent that is. It could just be, you know, damage stuff. But I'm gonna split this up into like 2 or 3 parts. This is gonna be the first part. Let me know what you guys think so far of what we're seeing in this little recap of everything. Most of everything that I wanted to talk about in the videos is in here. If I think of anything else in the second part, I will include it there. But thank you very much, everybody, for watching my videos, adding to the discussion, creating a sense of community around my channel, and not just my channel, but all of the Dragon's Dogma channels. There's a really cool sense of community and camaraderie around what's going on with the game, and I can't tell you, I mean, I feel like I'm more excited about people coming together to appreciate something and building this sense of, you know, union than I am about the game itself. I'm very excited for the game, but I'm also excited for us because we're building something that I feel like a lot of games are losing these days, you know, with the remakes and remasters and like that. There's a real opportunity here for something to thrive and be built, and I think that's probably the most exciting thing of all. And this is Wes. I hope you guys are doing awesome. You're awesome to me. If you got nowhere else to go, you got a place here. So thank you. Have a great time, and I'll see you soon.